Well, hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Paint Chronicles. I'm Emmy. So today we're going to talk about a little thing called the coronavirus and why or why not we should be wearing masks when out in public. I know you guys have heard a whole lot about this situation, and there seem to be two very clear extreme sides to this argument. First of all, I don't think it should be an argument. If you want to talk about it, it can be an open discussion, but I'm not going to argue with anybody about it. So we're just going to make that real clear at the top of this video. I am not arguing, not going to do any arguing. If you wish to comment and post something inflammatory, that's up to you. But I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to do it. So to make clear my stance on what to do when out in public or how to best handle this coronavirus situation, I'm going to start with the very basics. Also, I'm going to have all of my links to all the sources that I'm citing today down in the description, so if you wish to find out more information, you can go to those websites and check out what they have to say. So I found the following on a website called genome.gov, and it's basically just defining what a virus is. A virus is a small collection of genetic code, either DNA or RNA, surrounded by protein coat. A virus cannot replicate alone. Viruses must infect cells and use components of the host cell to make copies of themselves. Often they kill the host cell in the process and cause damage to the host organism. Viruses have been found everywhere on Earth. Because viruses don't have the same components as bacteria, they cannot be killed by antibiotics. Only antiviral medications or vaccines can eliminate or reduce the severity of viral diseases, including AIDS, COVID-19, measles, and smallpox. Okay, so all of that being said, we can't just straight up kill the coronavirus with antibiotics. We will eventually need a vaccine, and it's my understanding that we are working on it globally. So now that we know what a virus is exactly, how do we know how it spreads? So the following information I found on cdc.gov, and I found it by searching how to protect yourself and others during the coronavirus. So knowing how it spreads. There is currently no vaccine to prevent the coronavirus disease as of right now in 2020. The best way to prevent the illness is to avoid being exposed to the virus. Of course, that's a given. The virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person, between people who are in close contact with one another within about 6 feet, through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. These droplets can land in the mouth or noses of people who are nearby or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Some recent studies have suggested that COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not even showing symptoms. So now that we know how it spreads, what are things that we can do to avoid contracting this virus? You should wash your hands often, avoid close contact, which is why we have things like social distancing to keep us 6 feet apart or more in order to prevent droplets from becoming an issue. Cover your mouth and nose with a mask when around others. Okay, so there it is. Cover coughs and sneezes, which is how the virus is spread as far as we know currently. Clean and disinfect, and monitor your health daily. So let me preface this with saying I am not a medical professional. I did work as a certified nursing assistant for 6 years, which makes me feel like I have a little bit of a basic understanding of how the human body works. But what is opinion for me is opinion, and what is fact. And most of this is coming straight from the CDC, which is a factual website. So what I really wanted to focus on today is the wearing of the mask, because it has turned into absolute chaos. So like I mentioned before, we have what seem to be two extremes. We're going to approach these things one at a time. So let's go to the first extreme, which is on the left-hand side of my painting here, which is wearing a mask everywhere for everything all the time. First of all, if you are in your car and you are by yourself, you do not really need to wear a mask, in my understanding. The mask is meant to prevent bodily fluids, basically, from other people coming into your mouth and infecting you, right? So being in your car and wearing a mask by yourself really doesn't do much. Wearing a mask at home, unless there's somebody in the home that's infected, I don't really see the point of wearing your mask in the home. It seems to be a little bit of an overkill. I mean, if you want to be that cautious, you go for it. I don't really care. But it's not entirely necessary. However, on the other extreme of things where people say that they don't need to wear a mask or they don't want to wear a mask, okay, so this is where the big problem comes for me. Let me preface this by saying that I do not enjoy wearing a mask. It makes it difficult to breathe, yes. It's uncomfortable. My glasses fog up no matter what kind of mask I get. It just seems to always, the air somehow comes up through the top of the fabric or wherever, and it fogs up my glasses. It does make me feel a little panicky. That being said, the uncomfortableness or whatever, the panicking, the anxiety, doesn't stop me from thinking of other people's health and well-being. In my recommendations to those who don't wear a mask because of those things, because of feeling panicky or feeling like you can't breathe, I totally understand. Here's the solution. Just don't go anywhere. I feel like right now there's such a division between people of wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, when it really shouldn't even be an argument. The fact is that wearing a mask has brought down the numbers of infected people for the coronavirus globally. It has been proven to work. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories today. There's just way too much to go through on that. But even if we find out down the road, months later, years later, whatever, that wearing a mask was a conspiracy theory or whatever you want to believe, I'll at least have a clear conscience that I did what I could, because I know scientifically that masks work. I did what I could to consider other people's health and well-being. We have kind of a distorted view of masks right now because it has been politicized, it's been made into this big deal, and it's caused a lot of division. This is where my frustration comes in, because I feel like something that has been made a scientific fact and is well known globally has become a controversy. And people have turned it into this huge war, and I feel like we're just fighting each other instead of trying to help each other. I don't think it's that hard to lay down your argument and just kind of go, okay, you know what? If you happen to be right and masks do help cut down the number of virus infected people, then let's just go with the safer option. I guess that's always my theory, is to go with the safer option. If I feel like that doorknob is hot and there might be a fire on the other side, I'm probably not going to open that door. That kind of thing, I guess. Better safe than sorry. I do want to bring up one meme that I saw on Facebook one day, which we're not even going to go on to Facebook because anyway, I saw a meme where the question was posed that if the coronavirus is supposed to be 10 times smaller than dust particles, and if dust particles can get through a mask, how is the mask supposed to help prevent coronavirus? As far as we know, the virus is not airborne, which means that it is not free floating around the room, right? As far as we know, what the mask does is it prevents those droplets which contain the coronavirus from getting into your mouth. They're not going to prevent the coronavirus. As small as that virus is, the virus is submicroscopic, okay? Which means we can't even see it with a microscope. No, a mask is not going to prevent a submicroscopic particle from getting into your mouth, right? But it will prevent the droplets from other people's mouth getting into your mouth. That's the whole point. I just feel like people keep combating scientific fact with opinions, and that's become a huge pet peeve of mine. If we know there is proof of something and we just decide, yeah, I don't believe that, that's become where we're at right now, and it's not the most intellectual way to think. I'm not making fun of anybody for having the beliefs that they have, just being real clear, putting myself out there. You are more than welcome to have your beliefs. However, if those beliefs lean toward hurting people, that's where I get uncomfortable. That's where I get frustrated. That's where I seem to care a little bit less about being gentle. I don't know, maybe I'm not explaining this very clearly, but this picture I painted today was to try and get out my frustrations of seeing these two very big extremes. My message is, where is the happy medium? Why can't we meet together in the middle and just work together to try to get through this? Because that's all we're trying to do, is to get through this. Since this virus has become a thing, it's like politeness and decorum has just been thrown out the window. We have people yelling at people in stores because they don't want to wear a mask. And it's like, if you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. That's your right. Just don't go in the store. Order your groceries online. You know, everything is online right now. And that's probably one of the most effective ways to deal with the virus anyway, is to have no contact with other people. But seeing people lose their shit in public over a piece of cloth just boggles my mind. Where is the happy medium? So anyway, I'm off topic again, but this painting is just kind of trying to get out my frustrations, get out my dismal gloom feeling of the whole situation. As you can tell in the background, I made it less colorful than the foreground. The things that people are saying in the picture are things that I've directly heard out of many people's mouths and opinions on the internet, and whatever you want to call it. I've had enough. I'm just gonna stay in my house and avoid contact with the outside world as much as possible. Traveling has been minimized for me. I'm already kind of a hermit, so it sort of works out. But we're all just trying to get through this. We're all just struggling to make it through to a normalcy. It'll get there. We're going to get there. Let's just all calm down, take a step back, take a breath, and try to make the best of our day. So anyway, that was the topic for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to ring the bell for notifications of when I put out videos, because that seems to be kind of a rarity these days. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Emmy's Art Stuff. And I guess that's it. Have a lovely day, beautiful people. And as always, stay creative.